Good characters are hard to work with. They're not easy. They're not so interesting, you know. The bad characters are the ones you can have more fun with. You can work with them more. Every time I have an exhibit, I get, people are constantly like, "Wow, I didn't expect you to be the artist." But no, I get a lot of like, did you have problems when you were a kid? Do you have nightmares? Oh, wow, were you abused as a child? I'm fascinated with this idea that how you're perceived, and what kind of people would do this kind of thing. I think is very interesting. I was living with my aunt and uncle, and he gave me these tools, and I started carving stuff, and I liked that. And then later I got more serious about it. Line cut is a relief print process, and the way it works is that you draw a design on a sheet of linoleum, and once you've got your design on the linoleum, you're carving away the areas that you don't want to print. Because what you're doing is the carved away areas don't receive any ink when you roll it up with a roller, and then you run it through a press with paper on top of it, and then the ink transfers onto the paper. Well, I've been working with the monster theme, and basically the root of that is just the idea of the unknown and fear, and what makes people afraid, and why, and sort of misunderstanding, sort of the classic, the misunderstood monster, or is it really a monster, or is it really just? And I'm also interested in the idea of I deal with a lot of ugliness, and I think again the idea of misunderstanding, like just because something's ugly, is it, what does that mean? Are we afraid of it? Does it turn us off? The skull's a very interesting shape, and also the eyeballs and teeth. So I like sort of like the technical issues, like what makes a good strong face, so I like to work with those. Like also like some of my characters have cigars, and so like what does that mean? Like the cigar, the cigarette have become symbols for a certain kind of attitude. I think the monster is some kind of a response to my frustrations, to the sort of the everyday, the constant drone of this bad news. For a while there, I was watching MSNBC, and it just like, I was like, oh, I sympathize with a lot of the feelings on there, but then it's like, wait a minute, it's like the same thing over and over and over and over again. It's like drive you nuts. So maybe the monster for me is if I can deal with the monster, it's like I can grapple with the big story, in my mind. Like, okay, we're all having to deal with the monster out there, so here I can, work with the monster. I can mold the monster. I can shape the monster. So I'm kind of like, maybe it's a control thing. I have control over the monster, so that for me I can deal with it. Maybe a therapist would be like, oh yeah, maybe you're trying to control these things, and this is the way you do it. So perhaps, I don't know.